Well, you see, we really live in a small town. And the problem with living in a small town is there's really few things for people to do, especially for guys like us, geeks. And, well, for most people, I guess you would go to a bar if you wanted to meet somebody. I am of drinking age, just like my friends are, but do I really want to meet a bar chick? Is that what I really want? You know, do I really want some, hammered chick that brings down her, her fifth martini or her 30th beer and just says, by the end of the night, bring me home and fuck me? I mean, a girl like that is not really what I was looking for in another human being. And unfortunately, it was for guys like us, guys like me, a geek, all that's being offered is a bar. That's the only options that we have. But back in 2003, actually, there was a friend of mine who told me about this great new place that was open, and that was called the Combat Zone. And we checked it out. It was over the summer, and it was just an awesome place. It was a LAN center, and I don't know if any of you are familiar with LAN centers, but LAN centers are basically computer centers where basically you can get together. They're all networked together, and you can play video games on them or surf the internet, or you can just sit in a lounge, have a drink. They sell sodas and coffee and stuff like that, and just talk to people. Well, the great things about LAN centers is that you can actually be with people that you actually want to talk to. That you can meet like-minded individuals, friends, and stuff like that. The lights were always on. You could have conversations with people that were at the LAN center, and you can also talk to these people, and they were usually also very smart people. LAN centers, it seemed, at least as far as I could tell, was usually would attract intelligent people, people who built their own computers, people who wrote their own programs and software and stuff like that, or maybe just like-minded individuals, people who like the same kind of movies that you did, science fiction movies, or people who like the same kind of games that you did. But at the very least, that it seemed that gamers in general, if they were put in a specific venue, would at the very least have gaming to talk about, would have plenty to talk about for games. And this was really a great place. I mean, unfortunately, that it just didn't last very long. The last time we went there, it was New Year's Eve. We checked the website, and they said that they were going to be having a New Year's Eve special, a tournament or something. This was December 2004, I believe, if I'm correct. I was spending my New Year's alone, and then my best friend came over later, and we started watching television together, just by spending New Year's by ourselves, which is, I gotta say, watching it with him was better than being alone, which is what I usually did. And after we checked the website, we realized, oh, maybe we should just swing on by just to say hello, because we've been there so long. The owners knew us. We went, and the place was closed up. And there was a note left on the door. I don't even remember what it said actually, but it definitely sounded like it wasn't good, like some kind of emergency had happened or something like that, and they had to close the place down. After that, we tried going back sometime later, and the place was, all the computers were gone. They had shut the place down. Never knew why. They just shut down. And it was really disappointing, because to this day, that was the only hangout place that a guy like me or I could ever have. Back in 2006, a friend of mine told me that there was going to be another place opening up, a different type of place called Digital Mayhem. And we thought, oh, maybe we should check it out because it sounds pretty interesting. And unfortunately, it was not the same. It actually turned out that one of the guys who ran the Combat Zone actually did run Digital Mayhem. One of the guys, his partner, wasn't there. And unfortunately, it just wasn't the same kind of place. And as you can see here, that space for lease sign is all that's left of what used to be what was the LAN center here. This was the second LAN center that was in this area. As you can see here, the sign is still up. This was Digital Mayhem. This was the second LAN center that I always had the privilege of actually being near. And this actually, it really is sad, this place closed down too. The difference between this place and the combat zone was that even though actually one of the people running the combat zone actually did end up running this place, it still closed down also. And the problem with this was that unlike the combat zone, Digital Mayhem was a very dark place. The lights were always dim. Because of that, there wasn't actually a lot of people that actually hung out here, and also there wasn't a lot of ambiance for people to actually have conversations. At most, you would usually find yourself talking to somebody for about a minute or two, usually the guy behind the counter, just to tell him how many hours you wanted to play and maybe ask for a balls or two. Other than that, you really wouldn't find yourself meeting new people, and that was really unfortunate. The combat zone, actually, you would usually find yourselves usually talking to somebody because the lights were on. There's a lot of ambiance. The people there were actually really easy to talk to, and you could actually meet a lot of people and meet some interesting people, but not so much here. This place did close down recently, but actually a lot of people were probably expecting it to be closed down because it just still had no traffic to it. You wouldn't usually find a lot of people actually here.